Good morning. How is everybody doing? It's Fallon, aka Amore the Poet, pound 24. How is your day going today? How did your week go? I'm definitely glad to be here with you guys today. I'm glad I didn't wait a whole year to get back with you guys. I definitely need to be here just as much as probably somebody else does. It's crazy because I actually had to call off of work 2 days in a row because I like totally threw my back out. And I like it drives me crazy to have to call off of work, especially like when you're already scheduled and they're expecting you to be there. It's like I feel so guilty. It's like I'm disappointing them, but it's like I'm more so disappointing myself. And I mean, if you can't physically get up, what can you do? But I just felt so bad that I had to call off, and it actually gave me an opportunity to be here with you guys today because I'm awake and I would usually be asleep at this time because I would have just got off finishing my stretch. But fortunately, I'm here to do this YouTube video. Today we are going to talk about love, my perception, or how I view love or how I have viewed love, my different experiences with love, and how I came to know what love is to me today. Love is actually an action word to me. It's something that you show. People have different love languages, and I mean, there's books on love languages, but you can see people have different love language. You have to find out which one works for you. Um, Nobody really can tell you your love language because everybody is different and everybody has different moments that they need to be loved differently at that time. So, I mean, I don't, probably more than half of this world has been in some type of relationship or a situation that you were told you were loved, but then the actions didn't match up with the words and it was confusing. And I totally understand. And that's where those things called boundaries set in place, because if you continue to hear the word I love you, I love you, I love you, and then the action behind the word is being physically hit and then being told I love you, your definition of love is being hit. And it's not a good thing. Some people sit up there all day and they accept it. It's not a good thing, but if that's what you're willing to accept, nobody can change that but you. So, we'll start off with when I first came out. We'll go there. For me, I was born, I don't know if you watch other videos, but my mom was addicted to crack, so I was born to a crack addicted mother. I love my mother. I love my mother very much all the way up until the day she passed, November 21st, 2021. But love was confusing at that time because I had a mom that I loved, but I couldn't always be with her because she had a love for crack. And back then, I didn't understand what addiction was, so I didn't understand the disease. Excuse me. I didn't understand the disease of addiction and how it played a part in a lot of people's lives. So, as a kid, all I thought was my mom chose crack over me. So that's the type of love that I got from my mom. Um, but great. Fortunately, I had a chance to live with my mom when I was about 4 years old. Yes, she was still doing crack, but I never seen my mom do crack at all. I never seen my mom do crack. Probably like as long as can remember, as long as I've been alive, I've never seen her do it. I knew she did it because of her actions, the jaw, the fast movements and all that stuff. And of course my grandmother continuously saying your mom is a crackhead, she's in the street, she's doing this, blase blase, whatever. But when I lived with my mom at the age of 4, I can remember good positive things about my mother. I mean, my mom cooked dinner, like 3-course meals with some biscuits. You know, we had juice. She gave us baths. We were dressed. She ironed our clothes. She walked my sister and I to school. She picked me up with a blow pop. So like I remember good, great things about my mom, and that was my mom showing me that she loved me. No matter what she was doing in her life, she still showed me as a kid that she loved me. So later on, you know, we'll fast forward, when I used to hear these things being said about my mom, by my grandmother, by my step grandfather, or whoever, your mom's a crackhead, it was confusing because I remember my mom being a good mom for the short time that I was with her. Okay, and now rewind. After about 6 months, we were taken from our mom, my sister and I was placed in foster care. So, excuse me. Now, here's another chance for me to experience love with some different people. And this love was shown to me through beatings. Every single day I was beat. It didn't matter what I did. I could be doing nothing, being an angel, and I would get beat every single day by belts, by hangers, wooden shoes. It didn't matter. I was getting beat. So they were taking care of me. I had shelter. I had food periodically. I had clothes to put on my back. But, you know, it was confusing once again because I was in a situation where I was getting beat. But these are the people that are taking care of me. They should love me, but is this the way that people show love? So, you know, it was like, okay, so my mom, then the foster home. So I'm like, okay, eventually after about, I'll say 2 years, I stayed in that foster home. My grandmother finally got her foster license or whatever, and she came to get me and my sister from the foster home. And I was like, yes, like now I'm going to have real love. I'm with my grandma. I know that she loves me. She's going to take care of me. She would never let anybody harm me. She's here to protect me, and da 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 da. So I think I was about like 6 years old when I got with my grandmother, and it was good for the first year. You know, it was birthday parties, and I had my own warm bed, and I got a bath with bubbles in it. And you know, my sister was with me every day waking up. Nana would sing, you know, lullabies and nursery rhymes. It was just like I was in a fairyland, a fairy tale. I couldn't even believe like love existed like this, and life could be so happy as a kid. And then, bam, I started getting molested. You know, I started getting left with babysitters. I started getting left with people I really didn't know anything about. But of course, I knew that my family or the people taking care of me wouldn't leave me with somebody that was going to hurt me. So I thought. But sometimes when you get older, you have to realize people are where they are at that time in their life. I don't know if that really makes sense. Me going through that as a kid, I would never leave my kids with a man while I went out and did whatever I needed to do. Like, if it wasn't their father, the answer is no. And if it wasn't their grandmother, then that just meant that I didn't need to go. So I'm kind of grateful for, I mean, I didn't, I'm grateful that the things I went through helped me be a better parent for my children. I'm not grateful for being molested, but I'm grateful that my kids did not have to go through that because I went through that for them. So that's what I mean as far as being grateful. But it's crazy because once again, here I am confused because I love my grandmother. Like, anybody who knows me, like, I cherish my grandma. I put her on a pedestal. She was like my everything, because the one thing that she didn't do was abandon me. Like, yes, she did go to bingo every single night, but she came home. She never gave up. As defiant and rebellious as I was as a kid and a teenager for the things that were happening to me when I was young, she never left. And that was all the way up until she passed away February 26, 2016. So it was like her love for me was not abandoning me. No, she didn't give me all the love that I feel a parent should give a kid, but maybe she didn't know how to do that, and not abandoning children was her way of showing love, even though it's not enough. It's just not enough. So that happened with my grandmother, but I still love my grandmother no matter what happened. I know now as an adult, people are at different levels. It doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter the color, it doesn't matter the sex. It just, people are at different levels. People love differently, people show love differently, people need love differently, and that's just the way it is. So, relationship wise, whew, this is one to talk about. But I've come to realize, like, you can never be in a relationship. I don't care if it's with a man, with a sister, with anybody, until you truly love yourself. Yeah, you could grow up loving people, but sometimes you'll allow people to do things to you that are not loving because of certain titles. And that should not be. Titles does not matter. If they're doing you wrong, they're doing you wrong, and you should set boundaries with that person. And I know it's harder, and especially when you're a teenager, because your parents and you can have a lot of conflicting views and stuff, because we come from different generations, parents, teenagers, kids, and stuff was done differently a couple years back before that, and sometimes people do not change with the time. And you have a kid, you have to keep up, just like, I mean, don't lose your traditions or your good morals and values. But times are changing, things are different. So, with that, you must be aware. So, I always tell people, like, even when I go to work, like, I don't care if it's a doctor, don't let people disrespect you. You have to love yourself and you have to stand up for yourself. Because if you don't, you will be walked on. People will walk all over you. I can't be there. I will be there when I can to protect people, and I don't care. It is what it is. But I can't be there 24/7. So I'm going to need you to jump on this ship and sail along, because we got this. So, but I know it's a struggle, so bear with me. I got you. For a long time, I battled with loving myself, because the different love that I was shown growing up was so confusing. I didn't know how to love, which way to love, where love came from, why we even love, what is the point of it. So I had to, like, definitely try and figure it out. Like, I had my kids, and I knew my kids loved me because I was a good parent. But I know today I could have been a better parent if I had better understanding of some views of life when I was a kid. But my parents didn't have that to give me, so I didn't get that. And it's okay, because, I'm still going on. I'm still living. I'm still waking up. I'm still mentally sane most of the time. And, excuse me, I'm here to help somebody else. So let's go. So all my life, I battle with trying to love myself, and I've been suicidal. I've been depressed, I've been anxious, and it was like that for a long time, like a real long time. I tried to, commit suicide because I just didn't have a purpose. So I thought I just didn't have a purpose. So it's easier just to give up when you don't understand what your purpose is. I still don't understand life, but it feels good to know that I'm helping somebody else, who might not understand it either, because we're in it together. But 3 years ago, coming up on 3 years ago, I lost my son, to suicide. And yes, it was very detrimental, but I understand what it's like not to understand who you are, not to love yourself. And I battled with that, and he was battling with that, but it wasn't out there. He was just like the type of person that went straight to committing suicide. He didn't walk around depressed. He didn't walk around sad all the time. He didn't cry. It wasn't like that. The only time he really got like upset was when he lost a friend, and that's where he would show emotion. But other than that, like his sad moments, he just wasn't like a sad kid. He was a clown. But with saying that, when I lost my son, I fell into a real deep, dark depression because I'm like, I was a good parent. Where did I fall short? I've been suicidal my whole entire life. How do you lose a kid to suicide? Like, this life is messed up. It just doesn't make sense. Like, who wrote this story? But I had to see it's nothing positive about losing a kid, but I can't unwrite what was already written. If I was meant to lose my son, then that was going to happen regardless. At the age of 2, it was already written that I was going to have a son at 18, and then I was going to, lose my son at 36. It was already written that it was going to happen. So I'm just glad that, he gave me 18 years of life to understand, like, no matter what, he was always there. He loved me. My son loved me. He went through so much with me. Like, he is the reason I'm here today, because if it wasn't for him, I didn't have a reason to live. He gave me something to love. Even though I didn't love myself when I first had him, he gave me a reason to love somebody else. And that kept me here. And when I lost him, I was like, okay, I have a daughter, and it was kind of, she's not suicidal. She's the total opposite. Life is great. She sees Teslas and mansions and beaches, and she just sees, that's the type of life she just sees. Like, other people's feelings, yeah, she cares about them, but she doesn't, hold them too much, because she doesn't have control of other people's emotions, and she stands by that. Her emotions matter the most, and I'm grateful that she's like that. And when I lost my son, she was like really my backbone to keep going, because if I didn't have her, I would have gave up. So I went through 6 months of like dark depression after I lost my son. But when I got back up mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, he gave me so much energy to keep going, because I knew that I could be just like my son if I didn't learn how to love myself, if I didn't learn how to set boundaries, if I didn't learn how to stop people pleasing, if I didn't learn how to stop going to places that I didn't have no business going to in the first place. I had to learn. I had to learn how to stop calling people that were not good for me at that time. I had to learn how to step back and focus on me, even though it was hard, because I thought that I needed other people to help me get through what I was going through. But at that time, there was nobody. But I had my son. I had, my daughter. I had my kids, to still love me. Even though my son wasn't here. I had these poster boards that you see. I had his urn sitting here. I had his spirit. I had his energy that was like, you can't give up, Mom. I did give up because my time was up. But it's not meant for you to give up, Mom. And I'm going to need you to keep going. I used to be outside late at night just driving. Sometimes you get them moments. I mean, I do. I just get up and I just take a ride, because sometimes, taking a ride, listening to the music, feeling the breeze of the air, it relaxes you, it calms you down, it brings you back in tune with you, the universe. And I would drive around late at night and I would see deer. And not just like any deer. The deer would be in the position that it is on my son's urn. My son's urn is a deer. It's like a forest, preserve kind of setup. But that's the scene that I would see when I was out driving. And I'm like, dang, he's here with me, Or it's like, I just was driving to New York, and it's crazy because I'll look up in the sky, or I'll just like, I do this a lot when I'm driving, doing like this, send the spirits or the angels, like protect us, no tickets, no accidents, just whatever, no flat tires. And then I look up like, who has my back? Because I believe that my angels are protecting me, and I'll see like an S in the sky, and whoever I'm with, I'm be like, look, look, look. And then they'll look, and then 5 seconds later you'll look and it's gone, and I'm like, okay, I got you, thank you. And it's just like, if you see these signs, they're around. You got to pay attention. So we're saying that love is an action word. Like, you have to love yourself. You may not do anything, but sit down and relax. Put your feet up. Watch a movie. Read a book. But you have to make sure that you are good. Because somebody might care about you. Yes, we have people that care about us. But nobody knows you better than you. You might have secrets that you got to wash away. You don't want to tell anybody, but you got to get rid of them because they're eating you up inside. But nobody knows but you. Nobody knows you better than you know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, honey, you better start learning, because you got to be with you until the end of time. So, sorry, but not. You must figure it out if you want to keep going. So, self-love, first love. And then you worry about everything else, because that's when you're able to set boundaries of tolerating this or not. And it's okay to say no. That was the first word you more than likely, besides mama, dad, was no, 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 no. And it's the word that we hate to use today. No. Self-love and no go hand in hand. Okay? Do not do what you do not want to do. If it's on your mind, say it. Sorry, it might hurt other people's feelings, but you need to take care of yourself inside and out. So, today the poem is called My Love. Let me wet myself up. So, my love. Love has been a difficult feeling since I was born. Every time I thought I felt it, my heart was torn. My mother gave birth to me, but crack was love more. I thought she was coming back for me, but was never on the other side of the door. My biological father left when he heard about me. I don't know who he is, and I may never get a chance to see. I was placed in foster care where I had a whole new family. The love I received from there were beatings regularly and daily. Meaning when you get hit, that's how people show they care about you. This lasted 2 years until my grandmother came through. Now that I'm rescued, I know I'll have true love, even though my mind was already hidden behind a glove. The first year was the best, and I felt like I had a home. Soon that was shattered, and again I started to feel alone. My step-uncle touched me in a place I knew I never had. This is when things turned, and I really felt bad. This was my experience with love, but it didn't stop there. The situation was brushed under the rug, and I was told you'll never see him again, we swear. My protection was crushed, and even though I was growing older, each day I felt smaller. Confusion and rebellion came. Every year I grew taller. At such a young age, I didn't feel like a kid. This is what love feels like? What the hell have I did? Another year went by, and I thought, I'm back on track. I guess I spoke too soon, because the next 6 years were dark and black. We're going out tonight, and this will be your babysitter. How do you leave us with this grown man like we're a bunch of kitty litter? He kept touching me on the outside and rubbing me on my insides. Is anybody watching my pain, and how long is this going to slide? If this is what love is, please take me. I would rather die. Every night I went to bed on my knees. I prayed and cried. I started acting out because at 12 I needed to protect self. Nobody cared about my mental or physical, or even sexual help. I grew up yearning for love, but looking for it in all of the wrong places. I gave myself to any man hoping he would fill those voided spaces. Each time I did this, I was losing more and more of my spirit. They got what they wanted and definitely ran with it. How am I supposed to find love if I don't know what love feels like? Relationships are horrible, and I don't want one in this life. Eventually, I had children who showed me they loved me so much. No matter what I did when they saw me, their feet would rush. No physical, no mental, no sexual abuse. They loved their mother no matter what, even through her drug use. Love feels good, and it makes you feel whole as a person. When people cross your boundary, it's a spiritual distortion. Love picks you up, it doesn't knock you down. Love is something you feel when caring people are around. People will love you for you, and you don't have to change who you are. The love will grow fast, and the relationships will go far. The self-worth and dignity will be replenished sooner than you think. The love will stick around, even when you make a mistake or stink. Love yourself first and foremost, and the rest will definitely fall into place. One day you'll look up and say, damn, I really won that race. Always love yourself enough to give your spirit more. I'm standing here with you watching. Amor'eThePoet, pound 24. So guys, I want you to always remember, I know it's difficult. I know it is so difficult to put yourself first, but you have to. In your life, you have to be first. In your marriages, in your job, in your relationships, you have to be first so you can keep your morals, you can keep your values, and you can set your boundaries that work best for you. Okay? Just remember, self-love is the best love, it's the first love, and it's the love you need to continue to go day by day, moment by moment. And I know you probably don't hear this much, and if you haven't heard it in a minute, I love you. I'm here with you. I'm fighting with you. Do not give up. Remember, always love yourself first, and I will see you soon, okay? Amor'eThePoet, pound 24.